throws it in motion. And Couch in trouble. The blitz by Kennedy. Takes a ferocious hit. Knocked down at the 2 by Kennedy. And this kid can hit. Pumps once, throws, and it's picked off at the 5-yard line by Kenoy Kennedy.
This is former Razorback Kenoy Kennedy, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
I've been looking forward to this interview since Kenoy got back with me on Wednesday, and want to welcome him in this morning, former Razorback, former NFL safety. Kenoy, thank you so much for making some time for us here on The Morning Rush.
No problem. I appreciate you guys having me.
So I found this interesting listening to an interview you did, how when you were getting recruited back in the day, Texas A&M, Baylor, Kansas, there were some other schools that had offered you, but they wanted you to play offense. And Arkansas was one of the schools, I think the only school that recruited you to play defense. And I found that kind of compelling, Kenoy, because there's so many kids today that want to play on the offensive side of the football. They think there's more star power there. Why did you want to play defense in college and then eventually the NFL?
Well, I mean, initially it really didn't matter, because I actually played both sides of the ball. And, before I finish that story, kids today want to specialize in one side or the other. Oh, I only play offense, or I only play defense. But, they don't make them like they used to anymore. But anyway, but it really didn't matter which side of the ball I played. I went on visits with an open mind. And some schools told me that, I can play whichever side I picked. But when I came to Arkansas, they was like, no, we want you to play defense. We don't need you to play offense. We want you to play defense. And so, I went in with an open mind and, came out, loved the school, loved everything. Coach Washburn, Jim Washburn, recruited his butt off, when he recruited me. And every note that he sent me was handwritten. It wasn't any of those mass-produced type letters. And that meant something. And, and I was like, man, they really want me there. And so that's kind of what made me choose to come there. And so the rest is history.
Kenoy, you think about the track record of Arkansas safeties lately. Steve Atwater obviously stands out. You guys both played for the Broncos. Ken Hamblin. I know Tony Buda played some linebacker, but played safety as well. And then you look at this kid, Jalen Catalon. Not the biggest, but that kid lays the wood like you used to back in the day. When you watch him play, do you see any of yourself in Jalen Catalon?
Oh, no doubt, man. And I get excited when I watch him play. Matter of fact, I was talking to, I did an interview with Ken a couple of days ago. And his name came up, Jalen came up, and I said, man, to kind of describe his game, if you put Steve, Ken, and myself in a player, and that's the kind of player you have. But, he's a smaller guy, so, if you compress our files and you get the zip file, if you guys. So he's all of what we have in a smaller package. So I call him the zip file of the Arkansas great safety. So man, I mean, the kid can play, and I love everything about his game.
Kenoy, when you watch football today and you see the evolution of the offense in the spread to run, the 3 and 4 wide sets, the one back sometimes empty. It's not the pro style that you went up against a lot with. A lot of times 2 backs in the backfield. What's your view of that offense, and how would that have changed the way you had approached it today? When you watch the game, what goes through your mind seeing these offenses that are out there in today's game?
I think that today's game is a chess match. If you show your hand too fast on defense, you got coaches in the press box watching you move, so they pause it's almost like pausing the game and, recalling the play. So, it's different. And then also the defenses, coordinators and all that, have to be ready. So, it's the game today is totally different, and I think, even when we played, it was different. So if you ask a guy that played in the, the 70s, 60s, 70s, they would say the game has changed from, when I played. So, it's all about adapting and, I think it's not DB friendly today's game. I tell you that much. But you have to learn to adapt.
Yeah, You watch the game, and this comes up on our show a lot, and I'm sure you get asked a lot about targeting plays and targeting fouls that are called. That wasn't even a term or part of the game when in your day like it is today. What are your thoughts on some of the safety aspects and the rules they've changed? To make the game safer, but to certainly take some of the harder hits out of the game. It's taken away some of those highlights, but taken away some of what the game was built on in your day. What are your views of how they've transformed, particularly what made the game from your position?
Yeah, I think that it's a fine line between targeting. So I think they need to review everything on a case by case. Sometimes you have bang bang plays, and the guy didn't have intent. But if you say, oh well, but the helmet's touched, so we have to call targeting. So I think if they're going and replay, watching the replay of every called target, I think they need to, kind of just do it by case and not just necessarily by the rules. Now I get it because there is life after football, and I'm there. But at the same time, you know what you're getting into when you sign up for playing football. So, and it's kind of like, if you're a boxer and they say, well, we want to see a good show and we want to see some hard punches, but at the same time, we don't want to see you hit this certain area of the body, but you also want to see these guys go full speed. So, I mean, it's hard. And so it's one of those deals, though. It's the rules now, so you just kind of have to find a way to get around it.
Kenoy, this is Clay Henry. It's always good to hear your voice, and one of my favorite all-time Razorbacks right here, guys. I've got to go back to your recruiting commitment story, and Jim Washburn told me that out of the blue, you guys there were 4 of you, I think, that were on a recruiting trip to Texas A&M. Is it true that y'all called Jim from the Texas A&M coach's office?
Yeah, I don't know if we called them from the office or we called them on their plane. It was it was one of them because we actually and I might get the story backwards. So I don't know if we even flew because I think it was me, Brian Smith, Randy Garner, and one more other guy that was kind of from the East Texas region. Yeah, that was from this East Texas region. So we all was on the same plane. We was talking, it was like, well, where you going next? So we was like, we was going to Arkansas, and then we was on our way to A&M. So we was on the recruit trip back to back. And then, we kind of got to know each other. And so we on the plane or in the office. I can't remember which one, but, we was kind of talking like, hey man, what you go do? Where you going? Where you thinking? Which way you leaning? So, we was talking. It's like, man, going to Arkansas. Like, where if you going, I'm going. It's like, well, if you going, I'm going. It's like, and it kind of was like, we all kind of hit it off and, kind of made up our mind, like I say, once again, the rest is history on that part.
Yeah, Washburn told me that's the only time in history that you got one phone call and 4 commitments.
But you know what? And I think that's kind of goes back to the kind of atmosphere we had when we was playing, the family atmosphere, what we tried to build, and the way we went about life around there. We was all a big family, and kind of showed in the way we played. Man, we love being around each other. We took up for each other, and I kind of think that makes a difference because you don't want to let your brother down, and when you don't want to let your brother down, I think you play that much harder for him. So.
Yeah, I guess it was about a week after signing day. I was going down the hall at the Broyle Center, and Coach Washburn says, come in my office. I got to show you something. And he cues up the tape, and this was back in the days of tape and or video, I guess. And he says, watch this guy hit. And I think it was it Wiley? Wiley, Texas. And there was, and it was maybe a pass into the flat to the back, and this guy comes roaring up, and I thought the guy was dead. Kenoy Kennedy, you hit that guy, and his helmet flew, I think, 20 yards backwards. And
it was crazy, and we we're still trying to find that tape. I think after the tape starts spreading around, people start stealing the copies. So there's no copy around. And if you come to Terrell, Texas today, you can't find a copy of the hit because everybody stole a lot of copies. But yeah, I hit the guy. This was back in the day when you can hit, and all that kind of stuff. But it was a tight end drag. So I played corner at the time. I actually played corner and receiver in high school, and never played safety until I came to Arkansas. So played corner at the time. And I would always cover the best receivers. So the whole week in practice, they would tell us that they love the tight end drag. So, I'm covering my receiver. He ran me off, and I saw the tight end drag, and I was like, yep, we've been practicing this all week. I said, okay. So, I love to intercept the ball, but I also love to hit. So, the quarterback let him out just a little bit too much, but he caught the ball, and, man, I caught him right underneath the chin, and I'm not all about hurting guys, but I'm a physical guy. But yeah, his helmet came off. All the pads inside his helmet came out his helmet. He hit the ground. He kind of bounced up and slumped over with his legs crossed. And the whole stadium was quiet. Like you can hear a pin drop, and I was like, "Oh man, I've killed this guy." Like you said, you thought I killed him, but I thought I killed him.
It looked like he was dead.
Oh man. But long story short, he was end up breaking his jaw and a couple other things. But man, I was like, oh man, I don't. And so my mom told me, like, hey, son, you need to stop hitting these guys so hard because they have a mom too.
Yeah.
Like, they have family. They got family. They need to go home too. And I was like, well, you know what? Okay. So I would pull off a little bit, but not too much. But I was like, they know what they're getting into. So, they need to get on the quarterback for throwing that ball over there.
So did you meet that guy later in life?
Well, I never met him, but I know some friends that knows him, and they said he's doing all right today. So I kind of checked up on him, make sure he was good.
He might be the one. He might be the one getting rid of the tapes. He might be the one getting rid of all them tapes down there.
He doesn't want.
I never thought about it like that.
Oh man, Kenoy, you were joking about your mom like telling you not to hit guys so hard. Based on the highlights I saw you, and then with the Broncos and the Lions against Reggie Wayne, Chambers, and the Kentucky hit, man, I don't. Did you really pull up when you started playing college in the NFL based on those hits?
No, not really. I wasn't a hard-headed kid, but at the same time, it was like, Mom, you know what? Hey, I got rent to pay, and this house note that this house I bought you, I got to pay that. So this is why they brought me here. So I got to keep doing what I do.
We're talking with former Razorback Kenoy Kennedy here on the Morning Rush. Kenoy, one of the things that you probably come to know about Clay Henry is he hates the Texas Longhorns more than anything. And you concluded,
no doubt,
you concluded your career at Arkansas with the dominating 27-6 win over Texas in the Cotton Bowl. What was that like as a Texas guy to finish your career out beating the Longhorns?
All the guys, when we found out we was playing Texas, all the guys in the locker room that was from Texas, we were fired up. We took it personally, took it personal that it's like, hey, not that, all of us wanted to go to Texas or anything, but we took it personal because Texas, the Longhorns were, the school of Texas. If you talk about Texas, the Longhorns was the school to talk about then, so we took it personal, and then come to find out, when you're on campus and you start hearing about the history of the Texas versus Arkansas game, going back to the Southwestern Conference, you kind of buy into the history and what all that game meant, and so we took it personal. And when I say we were fired up, especially on the defense side, we were fired up, and to come in and play the way we did against that team, was awesome. And also my fiance, which was my high school sweetheart, my wife, now she was going to school at Texas. So, I tried to get her to come to Arkansas, but her parents wouldn't let her. So that was another little deal that I was like, well, yeah, since you didn't want to be a Razorback now, I'm gonna take it out on your school.
That's awesome.
It's still together after all these years.
Yeah, we're still together. We're still together.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now she all the sports teams she wears are the only Razorbacks. She don't own a Longhorn shirt in the house.
That's the way to do it. Kenoy, before we let you go, since we're talking about Texas, Arkansas does get to play the Longhorns in Fayetteville this upcoming season. How excited are you about that game?
Oh man, I'm so excited, and I this is my first time hearing that. So yeah, but that would be awesome. I've had season tickets for the longest. So I try to make as many games as I can. We didn't make any this past year with all the COVID stuff, but man, that's going to be awesome. And get with some of the guys, man. We talk about those old history and the games that we played back in the day, man. And that'll be awesome.
Well, hopefully what they do this season will be reminiscent of what you guys did to the Longhorns in the 2000 Cotton Bowl. Kenoy Kennedy, former Razorback, former NFL safety for the Denver Broncos and the Detroit Lions. Kenoy, we really appreciate you making some time for us all on the Morning Rush, man.
No doubt. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Kenoy. We'll catch up again maybe game week of the Longhorns and the Hogs.
That'll work.
All
and
right.
then we have to.
Thanks, Kenoy.
Bring me some of that fish you catching out there, Clay.
All right, I got it. I got you covered.
We can do that.
Gosh, that was fantastic. I love the his at the time girlfriend and now wife.
Yeah.
That part, that tentacle of the story was phenomenal.
Yeah.